Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members. I'd like to call this meeting to order, the Buncombe County Board of Education. Tonight is the board's organizational meeting, and so we will be having the elections of chair and vice chair. But first, if you would please rise and let's have our national anthem. Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry about that. Yeah, I will not be singing. Would you please remain standing for a brief moment of silence? Thank you. So board members, first we will have the election of board chair and then the election of board vice chair. I will now open nominations for the office of board chair. A second is not needed.
Dean, I'd like to nominate Rob Elliott for the position of board chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chief. Mr. Elliott, do you accept?
Yes, I accept the nomination.
Are there any other nominations for the office of board chair? Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I will close nominations, and now we will vote. We will vote by voice. All in favor of Mr. Elliott as the chair of the Buncombe County Board of Education, please signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Elliott. Thank you. And I apologize. I forgot to mention that Reverend Martin is joining us on the telephone this evening, so you will hear some voices come over the phone, over the speaker every now and then when we're going to have a vote. So now I will open the floor for nominations for the office of vice chair of the board. Are there any nominations?
Yes, I nominate Amy Churchill.
Thank you. Ms. Churchill, do you accept?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other nominations?
Yes. I nominate Kim Fleming.
Thank you, Reverend Martin. Ms. Plemons, do you accept? I do. Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Are there any other nominations for vice chair? All right. I will close the floor and we will now vote. We will vote in the order of nominations. So if everyone in favor of Ms. Churchill as the vice chair of the Board of Education, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those in favor of Ms. Plemons as the vice chair, please signify by saying aye.
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 By my count, that is Ms. Plemons wins majority vote, and Ms. Plemons is the vice chair of the Board of Education. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will now turn it over to Mr. Elliott. You don't have to listen to my hoarse voice anymore.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Shatley, and I thank our board for their willingness to serve our community in this way in both leadership positions and everything else that you serve in our community on all kinds of committees and representing our school system and their needs of the students. With that, we are going to get right to a, excuse me, I believe what I'd like to do first is move into the approval of our agenda for the rest of the evening. If I could, I'll get a motion to approve our agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. The agenda is approved. With that, we are going to get right to a special strategic plan highlight featuring BCS Arts Program. So Dr. Reed, if you will please share with us some more about that.
Absolutely. Good evening. Our strategic plan highlight tonight comes just a little bit earlier in our meeting. We have some very talented high school students and their amazing choral director here this evening, eager and excited to perform for everyone. As many of you came into the meeting this evening, you already enjoyed some festive tunes from some of our Inca High School string musicians under the direction of Paul Scott. It has become a Buncombe County Schools tradition that in December we feature choral music as well. Arts programs throughout our schools help build a sense of belonging, and for many students, they find their passion. They share their talents with our community, sharing their work and school with family, friends, and neighbors. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce members of the Inca High School Chorus under the direction of Mr. James Markey. If you would, students, please come on up and join us. Mr. Markey and his students have performed in school. They've performed throughout their community and in a combined chorus with other Inca district students. And tonight, they are here to share the joyful sounds of the holiday season with us. Board members, at this time, I'd love to invite you to come have a seat up front to enjoy tonight's performance. It includes a song related to this year's school system theme, Lead the Climb, along with some other notable holiday classics. Please join me in welcoming the Inca High School Chorus under the direction of Mr. James Markey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Cox. I'm a junior at Inca High School, and this is my third year in chorus and my first year in Chamber Singers. Tonight, the Chamber Singers are honored to be performing at the school board meeting for you. Our first piece is called Ad Astra. The Latin text, Ad Astra per aspera, to the stars, means even through difficulties. Hold on one second, I am so sorry. It is a declaration of who we are at Inca and what we believe Buncombe County Schools is striving for this year. Ad Astra pairs this year's BCS message, Lead the Climb, and the commitment to take the first step upward, to set the pace, and to persevere even when the path gets steep. Through Ad Aspera, the rough places, we acknowledge that challenges are real, but we refuse to stop when darkness comes. Instead, we focus our eyes upwards. We are reminded that growth, excellence, and hope live on the other side of effort. Over the past year, our community has lived this message in spite of the challenges, whether in the classroom, on stage, or in the community. We are learning that leadership isn't always about standing at the top. Sometimes leadership is simply the act of continuing to climb and inviting and encouraging others along. When we sing Ad Astra, we are singing about ourselves, choosing resilience, teamwork, discipline, and the belief that the journey is worth it. Tonight, as we perform, we offer this piece as a musical reflection of the district's mission to keep leading, keep climbing, and keep aiming for the stars together.
Ad astra per aspera, Thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight. I'm James Markey. I'm the course teacher at Anchor High School, and this is my second year there. I was hired at the beginning of last year from a neighboring district, and I started 8 days for the hurricane last year. And so we've been getting to know each other through this process in many, many different ways. And so I'm just thrilled to be able to be in front of these kids every day, and they are just amazing. They're just when I show up to work every day, I am reminded that no matter what we are told out in the world, that with these kids being our future, the future is bright, right? We have nothing to worry about. So I'm so thrilled that we're able to promote that at meetings like this, because often, we focus on the things we need fixing, and it's great to celebrate the things that are working. So thank you so much, and for all the things that we're going to be able to share tonight. So again, and we're going to shift ourselves from, this was a piece that we did at our fall concert, and we'll be doing a little bit more holiday cheer coming up. So again, thank you so much for having us. We hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Shepherds at the stars.
you don't know the words, just make them up. Right, Lee?
Deck the hall with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Join the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. Pass away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, fa la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la.
Next we got Jingle Bells. Everybody can handle it.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Thank you again so much. Have a wonderful holiday.
Everybody. Okay, well, thank you to our student musicians from Inca High School for that wonderful performance. Now to Dr. Jackson for superintendent's comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, parents, members of the community, board members, and teammates. As we approach the holiday season, I find myself overwhelmed with gratitude for the incredible resilience, compassion, work ethic, and teamwork demonstrated by every member of our school community during the first half of this school year. The Jets of the Inca High School Chorus and Orchestra are absolutely amazing. In sharing their gift of music tonight, they have powerfully demonstrated the greatest highlights of the month of December, which are the multiple opportunities available to each one of us to experience our students' musical and dramatic talents through band, orchestra, and chorus winter concerts, and through the winter musicals in schools across the school system. I'm very grateful for all of our arts instructors for all that they do to help our students discover and hone their talents. Details for all of the performances are located on the arts calendar on the school system website. I would encourage you to invite your friends and neighbors to join you in attending one or more of our winter concerts in our schools. I promise it will be incredible. Beyond the good news that we'll share in just a few moments and tonight's music that we heard, I'm excited about the items on tonight's agenda. As I reflect on the school improvement plans and proposed school system calendar, I note how many parents, staff members, and community members have been involved in the creation and planning of these items. I'm thankful to this board's commitment to hearing from all stakeholders and incorporating the many compliments, comments, concerns, and questions that we receive into our commitment to continuous improvement. Thank you to all who helped guide our schools through participation on school improvement teams, parent advisory councils, the Teacher Advisory Council, the Exceptional Children Advisory Council, the Student Advisory Council, the System Calendar Committee, and on and on. For our parents and community, if you're interested in learning how you can lend your voice, be involved, and support students, I would encourage you to reach out to your school's principal about the possibility of volunteering in the schools or, in this season of giving, to the Buncombe County Schools Foundation to learn more about how your gifts of time, talents, or treasures may help our students. This holiday season, I wish each of you peace, joy, and the time to reflect on the incredible progress we have made together. While the road has not always been easy, your collective efforts have shown the true spirit of this community. Together we are stronger, and together we will continue to lead the climb. We remain committed to supporting each and every single student in our school system. Again, to our team and to our board members, thank you for all that you do for the students, families, teachers, and staff of Buncombe County Schools. May your holidays be filled with love, rest, and renewed hope for the year ahead. Mr. Chair and Ms. Vice Chair, congratulations on your election to lead the Board of Education. I look forward to working with you in these new roles. This, Mr. Chair, concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Now I believe it's time for our good news portion of our board meeting. Mr. Ulmer, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, good evening, board members, Dr. Jackson, and BCS teammates and families. We're going to begin good news this evening with some students who've been doing some really good things in our community, thanks to the WNC Strong Youth Service Corps, a special partnership with the Department of Agriculture, NC State, and the Buncombe County Schools CTE program. Dr. Eric Klein from WNC Strong, if you could join us up front, along with CTE Director Michelle Smith, and Dr. Reed's going to help hand out some hardware as well. I'd like to share a little bit about this program. Students participated in a 7-month internship that provided hands-on learning opportunities as they assisted farmers working to repair their land from Hurricane Helene. Anka High School is one of the schools that participated. Ms. Lewis, if you could join us too, along with Principal Katie Harris, teacher mentors Alex Fry and Josh Justice, and representing the Jets this morning, please come front and center. There are 2 WNC Strong students from Anka High School, Elena Deweese and Ross Franklin. Thank you for letting us celebrate what you did tonight. These students use their skills and knowledge to help our neighbors in need right here in Western North Carolina, learned some new skills along the way, and used the power of community to come together and help farmers still working to recover. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your service. We also had students from North Buncombe High School participate in the WNC Strong Youth Service Corps. Ms. Franklin, if you could join us along with North Buncombe Assistant Principal Philip Bohannon. We have teacher mentors Justin Gillespie and Andrew Shelton coming up front. And we will salute our 4 Blackhawks who are here tonight: Hayden Jamerson, Aiden Flynn, Addison Sprinkle, and Hunter Crowder. We thank you for the work that you did as well, individually and also working with the Anka High School students. This was a true collaboration because our BCS students also work with students from Mitchell County Schools and Yancey County Schools, making a tremendous difference in Western North Carolina. We are so thankful to these students as well, and much appreciation for our partnership with WNC Strong for partnering with Buncombe County Schools CTE. Congratulations. And thank you very much. Now, Ms. Franklin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Gillespie, and Mr. Bohannon, if you will stay forward with us, because we would like to also salute the North Buncombe High School FFA program, of which Mr. Gillespie is an advisor. Recently, he had some students go to national competition. They competed on the national stage and used their skills to match and exceed some of the top students in the U.S. The team of Emmeline Stack, Miley Ponder, and Addison Sprinkle here representing their team. Quinn Ball could not be with us tonight, but they finished among the top teams in the entire nation in the National FFA Livestock Judging event. Teams evaluate 12 classes of beef cattle, swine, sheep, and goats based on industry standards. We are just so impressed with your tremendous performance there. Thank you for your outstanding representation of the Blackhawks, of Buncombe County Schools, and the state of North Carolina at the National FFA competition. And although they could not be here with us tonight, there were a couple of members of the North Buncombe delegation that achieved the American FFA degree. We congratulate Sarah Stone and Shelby Candler for that very impressive achievement. This evening, we are also celebrating a teacher from the Progressive Education Program. If we could have PEP Principal Dr. Thea Wilson and BCS Special Services Director Dr. Mindy Connor come up as we honor an amazing teacher, Miss Kathy Gregg, if you will please join us up front as well. Miss Gregg was honored by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction with the Exceptional Children Educator of the Year Award. This statewide recognition is one of the highest professional honors that is presented by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. It celebrates educators who demonstrate outstanding commitment to students with disabilities and who exemplify the values of high-quality instruction, inclusive practices, collaboration, and advocacy. Mrs. Gregg was selected because she consistently goes above and beyond delivering individualized instruction, building very strong relationships with students and families, and she contributes to school and district-wide improvements in exceptional children's services. Ms. Gregg, we celebrate you tonight. Thank you so much for all that you do. Not too long ago, we showed up at Anka High School to surprise an assistant principal. Now, assistant principals are hard to surprise. They don't always like surprises because there are apparently plenty of those in their day already. However, we pulled it off, but we also wanted to bring him here tonight to celebrate with the entire BCS family. Miss Lewis, if you will join us, please, along with Anka High Principal Katie Harris, we would like to officially recognize the Buncombe County Schools Assistant Principal of the Year, Mr. Caleb Harbin of Anka High School. Mr. Harbin was selected for this honor by his fellow assistant principals across the school system. They shared how his hard work with students and parents help achieve their academic goals, and also how he serves as a mentor to new educators and administrators. A future BCS administrator right there. And Ms. Shelby Harbin, we're happy to have you with us tonight. Congratulations to Mr. Caleb Harbin, our Buncombe County Schools Assistant Principal of the Year. And finally, Chairman Elliott, if you could join us up front, please, along with our Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Cody, BCS Facilities Maintenance Director, Clark Wyatt, Assistant Director, Beth Anderson, and BCS Energy Manager, Mandy Friel. We also have some representatives of our community partner, Duke Energy Progress. We would like to bring up Josh Littlejohn, Alicia Reardon, Jennifer Bennett, and Anderson Merritt. They are here with a very big check and a very special presentation. Let me share what this is all about. This is about energy efficiency in our schools. They are presenting Buncombe County Schools with the Business Efficiency Award for BCS. Duke Energy Progress presents this to partners who demonstrate excellence in their efforts to implement energy efficiency VCS has had a longstanding commitment to participating in the program and maximizing our relationship with Duke Energy Progress, notably from 2016 to 2020, leveraging LED incentive dollars and retrofitting all BCS campuses. So this big check that you see reflects the school system's continued participation in the Smart Saver business program. In the past 10 years, incentives for mechanical systems, kitchen equipment, and lighting upgrades have totaled more than $2.5 million and saved enough electricity to power 1,000 homes for an entire year. So we are very appreciative to Duke Energy Progress for its partnership with our BCS facilities and maintenance team and for being here with us this evening. Thank you so much. I don't think that check's going to fit in the overnight deposit. You have to run that through the teller tomorrow. If we could please have our good news recipients follow my photographer friends, Brianna and Michaela, down the hall, please. Thank you so much for being here tonight. As they do, a reminder to everybody that you can see more good things that are happening in classrooms all across Buncombe County schools by going to buncombeschools.org and following at Buncombe Schools on social media. Mr. Chair, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ulmer, for all that great news. All right, it's now time for our public comment. Our attorney, Dean Shatley, will read a statement regarding public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's now time for public comment. As a reminder, speakers will be called in the order in which they signed up. All speakers will have 3 minutes. There is a button over a light on the other end of the dais. When it turns yellow, you have 30 seconds. When it turns red, your time is up. We ask that the public, excuse me, sorry, I've had a bad day for my throat today. All speakers must adhere to the guidelines set forth in board policy. We ask that speakers do not engage in profane language, making threats, or revealing confidential student or staff information. Please address the board as a whole, and while they are listening, they are probably taking notes. They do not respond directly to public comment.
Mr. Chair, there are 4 public comments tonight. The first speaker is E. Brown.
Good evening. My name is Ms. Brown, and I'm from the Sand Hill Venable School Elementary School District. Tonight, this is a formal complaint that I have regarding the Buncombe County School District's persistent non-compliance with my student's IEP. The core issue is the unilateral modification of his education plan and placement without required parental consent or formal IEP team process, which violates federal law. A precedent of violating his federal rights was established during his first grade year when the former principal unilaterally attempted to implement a modified school day. The former principal subsequently used unauthorized physical restraint tactics not prescribed in his behavioral intervention plan or IEP. These actions occurred without required parental consent or IEP team discussion, citing a local policy that conflicts with federal procedural safeguards. The Buncombe County School Board did take actions to correct both of these incidents, which allowed my student to successfully complete the remainder of his first, second, and third grade years. This pattern has reemerged in the current school year. Despite my participation in formal IEP meetings in September and November, where no mention of classroom reassignment was discussed, less than 2 weeks later, I was unilaterally informed on November 21st that my child would be removed from his current classroom and reassigned. This decision was presented as final and non-negotiable without my agreement or consent. The current principal is citing Buncombe County School Policy 4155 to justify this action. Unfortunately, this local policy is superseded by federal law, requiring prior written notice and parental consent for changes to placement or services with the child's IEP team. This constitutes an egregious violation of the legally binding IEP document. I would like to demand the demand for frequent meetings which have felt unproductive and perceived with a lack of genuine support have resulted in my mental duress and for my family and for my student. The institutional convenience appears to be taking precedent over the tailored and legally mandated support outlined in my student's IEP. I would like to ask that the district ensure that all future decisions are made with parental involvement and consent, adhering to the Individuals with Disability Education Act, that the Buncombe County School Board is expected to uphold all legal statutes with unwavering fidelity and accountability, and to uphold the provision of my child's existing IEP. I expect an immediate response detailing the steps that will be taken to rectify these violations and ensure future compliance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Craig White.
Good evening. I'm Craig White from the Campaign for Southern Equality, and here we are at the end of 2025. This has been a tough year for students and their civil rights, but there have been bright spots. Your decision to reverse the ban of the Epic Digital Library was one of a very few victories for the freedom to read in North Carolina for North Carolina students, and I thank you for that. 2026 will also be an interesting year. The United States of America has become the divided states of America. But I think her people are waking up and getting organized. To prepare us for next year, here's a quote from the Supreme Court in West Virginia versus Barnett. The year was 1943. The US was fighting fascism around the globe. And the state was requiring students to have certain patriotic beliefs and behaviors. Their citizens challenged them in court, and the court's ruling predicted our present political moment all too well. Free public education, if faithful to the ideal of secular instruction and political neutrality, will not be partisan or enemy of any class, creed, party, or faction. If there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or any other matter of opinion. As governmental pressure toward unity becomes greater, so strife becomes more bitter as to whose unity it will be. Probably no deeper division of our people could proceed from any provocation than from finding it necessary to choose what doctrine and whose program public education officials shall compel youth to unite in embracing. Those who begin coercive elimination of dissent soon find themselves exterminating dissenters. Compulsory unification of opinion achieves only the unanimity of the graveyard. United States Supreme Court, West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett, 1943. In 2026, I will continue to fight to heal this United States, and I hope you will join me.
Thank you.
Joan Hoffman.
Good evening. My name is Joan Hoffman. I'm a CTE teacher at AC Reynolds High School. I am the current vice president of the Buncombe County Association of Educators, as well as a parent of 2 BCS students. I want to express my appreciation for the ongoing discussions regarding funding our schools. Recently, during the presentation on new percentage-based funding models, we heard about its potential benefits and planning and predictability. However, Numerous questions and concerns have arisen from both the staff and the community that I would like to share, hoping that they will inform your discussions as a board and in your future interactions with the County Commission. First, why is only education funding based on received revenue rather than projected revenue, unlike all other areas of the county budget? If we treat the education budget differently by excluding all revenue and only using received property tax and sales tax, does that show that we value public education in our community? Why should our public schools be the only department with a budget that is based on Hurricane Helene revenue levels? Clarification on the need for this decision to differentiate only education funding would be greatly appreciated. There are also concerns regarding the county's potential decision to decrease the tax rate and its impact on funding. A recent Buncombe County government video on property tax reevaluation posed the question, can values increase but taxes stay the same or go down? The property tax assessor's surprising response about the commission's control over tax rates alarmed many, suggesting that our county may aim for a revenue neutral or potential lower tax rate post the current reevaluation. If our funding percentage is tied solely to property and sales tax received rather than the general fund, annual revenue and thus school funding might be adversely affected by the County Commission's decisions. Additionally, using their percentage, how does a cut of $2.3 million align with our actual need to fully fund our school district? The proposed percentage does not even restore funding to pre-Helene levels or replace the cuts already made to our budget. This raises concerns, especially with the current uncertainty surrounding federal funding for exceptional children's services. Agreeing to a percentage that has already been indicated as insufficient undermines our students' needs. I understand that these public discussions are just beginning, and I hope that you will welcome the opportunity for community feedback so stakeholders can collaborate to ensure that our schools receive the funding they truly need. Please take the necessary time to address these questions and any others that may arise before finalizing any agreements which could jeopardize our capacity to support our students effectively with fidelity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sharon Broussard.
Hi, Sharon Broussard, Reynolds District, and very proud public school strong advocate with some of our supporters here. LifeWise Academy is part of the white Christian nationalist movement and is organizing locally to infiltrate Buncombe County schools and to be approved by the Buncombe County School Board and Superintendent Jackson. A document called Difficult Questions from Students details how LifeWise instructs its teachers and volunteers to respond to student questions. If a student lives with a parent, guardian, grandparent, etc., who may not share LifeWise's beliefs, they will instruct the student to respect the adult but to obey God before their parent or guardian. LifeWise has documented policies that tell students to disobey their parents. LifeWise policies and curricula consistently lead to instruction that divides students based on their religious beliefs. LifeWise instructors give the message that those who do not follow Christianity are valued less than those who do. In a skit posted on Facebook from a LifeWise class, an instructor describes how bad kids are fighting, stealing, name-calling, and being lazy at school. The instructor continues saying, "This is really bad," and describes how the child doesn't go to church or read the Bible. Associating negative character traits with people because they have a different religious view than yours is bullying. LifeWise's curriculum does not merely reflect outdated biblical storytelling, it systematically revives classic anti-Jewish stereotypes and presents them to young children as unquestioned truth. With no historic framing and repeated depictions of the Jews as violent, jealous, or murderous, LifeWise teaches young children dangerous tropes that have fueled anti-Semitism for centuries. These lessons blur ancient conflicts into modern prejudice, potentially creating a weekly pipeline teaching animosity under the guise of Bible study, rather than age-appropriate understanding. I don't need my children and grandchildren to be told by a religious group preaching to them during the public school day that LGBTQ+ lifestyles and extramarital sex is sinful, that they must obey God over their parents and are taught anti-Semitic tropes. I implore the Buncombe County School Board to reject this assault on our impression.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. Next up is our action agenda. First on the action agenda is the 2026-2027 Buncombe County Schools Academic Calendar and Early College Buncombe County Center for Career Innovation Calendar Adoption. Dr. Reed, I believe you have the floor.
I am here to present two calendars to you this evening for approval. You'll see in your board memo that this request for approval follows a series of 3 meetings with a 57-member committee that included parents, students, school administrators, teachers, instructional assistants, and district staff. And I'm happy to entertain any questions that you might have about both our 26-27 academic calendar and also the separate calendar for the Buncombe Center for Career Innovation and Buncombe County Early College.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I first just want to say, as always, thank you for your hard work on this. It's a heavy task, and also thank you to the 47 members of the committee for all of their work. I know you meet how many times a year? Several?
We met 3 times this year.
Yeah, 3 times a year. It's a lot of work, and I just appreciate everyone's time.
Yes.
I know it's a great cross-section of stakeholders, right?
It certainly is.
That do this work, so thank you. Any questions from the board or comments on the calendar?
Dr. Reed, just a couple of questions. One is the the October 2-day, not break, but teacher work days. Is that something that's been received very positive by teachers?
It has been. It tends to be at the top of the list of any survey we give, is to have that little period of what we kind of have started calling a fall break, and I believe this would be the 3rd consecutive year that we've had that in our school calendar.
Well, the Buncombe County Schools Foundation certainly appreciate that time as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we can do a fundraiser and include our employees in that. So thank you for taking a look at that.
Absolutely.
I think that's the only question that I had.
Any other board members have questions or thoughts?
I'm sorry, I didn't think of my other question. So, once again, we're back to starting school the 24th, which is the 4th Monday. And it's really not a question, it's a statement, and if I'm wrong, Dr. Reed, tell me. But again, this is based on the law that was passed that said we can't start school before a certain time in August. And we know that there are parents that don't like that. I personally don't like that either, because we can't have exams prior to the holiday break. But that is something that's basically non-negotiable. Is that a correct statement?
Correct. That's in current law, that we must start the Monday, no sooner than the Monday closest to August 26th.
Thank you.
And that happens to be August 24th, 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I do have one other question, because I know that this past year in the state Senate, SB 103 and SB 754 were filed. I think one of them was filed by one of the members of our local delegation. And I was curious, wanted to ask our attorney, Dean Shatley, or you, if you know the answer, kind of where this legislation sits currently, and actually, I've heard it billed as, well, one of them actually is titled, Make School Calendars Great Again. And I think that it strikes the language it's in the title of the bill I saw today. And it actually says that it strikes the language of starting on August, the closest Monday to the 26th.
That's correct.
Where do those two separate bills lie? How will they be reconciled? At what timeline do they appear to be on? Do you know much about that?
So Senate Bill 103 was introduced by several senators, including Julie Mayfield. That's the Make North Carolina School Calendars Great Again bill. It basically strikes any opening and closing day requirement. The only requirement that we would have is the hours and number of days requirement. That bill went nowhere. It was introduced in February 25, and it was immediately referred to the Rules Committee, and it has not gone anywhere since then. So I would not at this point, unless some sort of miracle, that would go anywhere else. Senate Bill 754 has passed the Senate, and then it went to the House in May, right before the crossover deadline, and it stopped in the House, which is a little unusual because the House has been relatively more favorable for calendar flexibility, and I don't know if that has something to do with. That's also when budget negotiations, I think, started to kind of stall as well. So it could have been around there. Now, Senate Bill 754 has some interesting portions to it. It basically says that we still have to start the Monday closest to August 26. However, and there is always the good cause where you can start a week earlier if you have enough snow days or emergency days where you're out. We have typically in Buncombe County, we used to meet that good cause exception all the time, and we haven't met it for many years now. But our neighbors in Madison County, and you go up further, they all have met that good cause, and they can all start a week earlier. But Senate Bill 754 also has a provision that says everybody can start on August 19th, or the Monday closest to August 19th, so long as you put the same number of days in your fall semester and spring semester, which even starting on the Monday closest to August 19th is going to be very difficult if the goal is to conclude the fall semester around Christmas. But again, that bill passed the Senate, it went to the House, and it went nowhere in the House, and I don't know if it's stalled because the House doesn't like it or just everything kind of stalled in the middle of the summer. With the budget negotiations. This bill did make crossover, so it can be revived. I think that was the other part of your question. It can be revived in 2026, although I also know that there were some other House reiterations of calendar flexibility as well in other bills too. So hopefully we'll see something in 2026, but at this point in time, I think it'd be probably pretty hard for us to guess what that would be.
And so Senate Bill 754 the primary sponsors were Senators Lee, Berger, and Galey. And I understand the current calendar bill that we currently exist under, the current calendar law, was originally sponsored by Senator Lee. Is that correct? Do you remember? Well, the iteration of it, I mean, we have had a mandated starting date for quite a while, and I think that even goes back to the time when Senator Bass Knight was Speaker Pro Tem in the Senate. So I don't know but that has been amended a few times. The August 26th date, or the Monday closest to August 26th, is I think a phenomenon from the last 10 years or so. That I don't know. I can't remember if Senator Lee was involved in that. I do think Senator Berger was involved in that as well. So. Yeah, thank you. And I wanted to ask Dr. Jackson a follow-up question to this line of thinking, is that this Senate Bill 754, introduced by Lee, Berger, and Galey, that moves the start date of the calendar back a full week earlier, potentially. So instead of the Monday closest to the 26th, it's the Monday closest to the 19th. we have passed resolutions as a board, and all school boards across the state have passed resolutions historically asking for just complete school, for autonomy basically around scheduling their calendars. This moves it 1 week, so one might think that that's favorable, and I agree that it probably would be, but the contingency that you have to have the same number of days in both semesters, what does that actually do operationally for us?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. And I want to go back and state to the board, I also dislike the calendar that follows the school calendar law because it does force our exams after Christmas. It does give our advanced placement students less time in class than their peers across the nation because we start so late. It does cause issues for our seniors who would be early graduates because they're still in K-12 education and can't matriculate to a university for the second semester. As you know, the board has been kind and gracious and passionate about passing resolutions to try to request full flexibility so that the elected leaders, the locally elected leaders of the Board of Education can make the determination that would be best for the students and families and community of Buncombe County. I had great hopes when I heard about Senate Bill 754, particularly because of who the sponsors were, that this may come to fruition. However, when we actually saw the language that said that the 2 semesters had to be equal, and we put pen to paper, it essentially creates an untenable calendar. When we look at that, our best work around that, and Dr. Reed and that very large committee looked at that intensely as a possibility. It drops the number of instructional hours if we do have exams before Christmas to 1,006. Currently, we're required to have at least 1,025 or 180 days. We know, based on last year, the pain of losing instructional hours, of what that does for our students. And so to drop our calendar to 1,006 would have great impact instructionally on our students. And so the equal days clause between semesters almost makes it untenable in terms of being able to move back that 1 week. If we could move back 1 week without that clause, and perhaps the board may want to advocate to advance this bill without that clause, moving our calendar 1 week would allow us to move exams before Christmas. We would have what's called an unbalanced calendar that's been used in districts across the state. I've been in a district using that calendar. One of the things that requires is at the high school level, we're very intentional and purposeful with where we place our courses because there are fewer days in the first semester, more days in the second semester. So courses that are traditionally challenging for students, for example, our regular level Math 1, 9th grade math, it's great to put that in second semester when second semester has more days, so our students have more days to conquer challenging material. And so that bill, absent that clause of equal days per semester, could be very helpful. It would also get us closer to aligning with the community college calendar. You know that we have a lot of students who are enrolled in dual enrollment, and we work closely with AB Tech and with our community college partners. And so thank you very much for the question. Senate Bill 754 in its current iteration is almost an untenable option from the standpoint of those equal semesters. And certainly if board members have questions about more of the details, Dr. Reed has all of that research for us.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson, for that. I think, so the 2 clauses are that you can start on the Monday closest to the 26th, as we currently do, or you can start on the Monday closest to the 19th, but only in that case, you have to have semesters of equal number of days. So I ask those questions because I know there are a lot of advocates and energy around this particular item in the community. Several school districts break the calendar law every year without consequence. We've chosen for years to follow the law. as we're required to do. And so this, on face value, initially sounded fairly promising, but that's why I wanted to ask you to explain that complication in it. I will ask that before our January board meeting that we potentially consider resolution language, that if this comes back in the next session of the General Assembly, that that we may support this bill without that second clause in it that forces you to have the same number of days in both semesters, just so that we can clarify for the community and to our elected officials that we appreciate the additional flexibility, the earlier start date, but this one clause is problematic for us, and it would also probably help guide some advocates in the community that do want to speak up on behalf of our school calendar. So I'll just ask if we can consider what that might look like before next January's board meeting. Thank you. Any other further questions or comments around the calendar? Thank you for that. All right. I will separately here entertain a motion to approve the 2026-2027 Buncombe County Schools academic calendar and early college Buncombe Center for Career Innovation calendar as well. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Calendar has been approved. Thank you, Dr. Reed. Next on the action agenda are the 2025-2026 school improvement plans. Dr. Reed, that's back to you.
Yes, it is. So at our meeting back in November, I was able to share a school improvement plan at a glance document with each of you for each of our 45 schools. And state law does require that the board approves plans at least every other year, and this is the other year for us. In addition to that, it also requires the board to approve plans for all schools that have a low-performing designation annually. And so tonight, I'm asking for your approval for school improvement plans at each of our 45 schools, and I certainly would be happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
Does the board have any questions? Yes, Mr. Cheatham.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. After our board hopefully approves these plans, what's the next step?
Absolutely. So technically, the next step is that each of our schools in their NC STAR platform will go in and actually push a submit button. And so the Department of Public Instruction then has full access to an archived version of every school's plan. We do have assigned coaches at the Department of Public Instruction who will go in to several of our schools, those with low performing designations, and actually read those plans and make comments. Functionally, on our end, which is the most important piece of the work, is that our school improvement teams will continue what they've been doing all year, and they will meet monthly, if not twice a month. They will go through all of the action steps that they have assigned for that particular month. They'll have discussions on those. They'll review data. They'll make adjustments and changes to those plans as needed because those plans actually evolve over the course of the year. It's important to our schools that those are live, active documents and that they guide the course of the work, but they're also adaptable to the changing needs within the school. So they'll meet monthly. They'll go over those strategies and they'll make new actions, and they can even modify goals if they need to over the course of the year and monitor improvement through the end of the school year.
And what would be the best way for our public, our families, if they wanted to check out those documents?
Great question. So every school's plan is fully accessible on each school's website. Right now, they would log into NC STAR. That login is available on the school website. Very easy to access. They go to the main menu on the website. They click school improvement plans, and it takes them not only to the link for the plan, but also a list of members and also meeting dates. Our school improvement teams, and those meetings are open meetings. They're open to the public, so anyone certainly would be welcome to attend those meetings to learn more.
Any other board member questions or?
No, just a comment, Chairman Elliott. We, in the Irwin High School SIT team, this really does work well. We even had, I think, 2 parents that attended the meeting, because it was published that we were having that meeting, and they felt really good about what the school was doing and have become part of our advisory council. So I think that in the last, couple of years or so, having more participation and being able to discuss some really tough things sometimes has been very, very good. So I appreciate the work that's being done on these.
Our schools do an incredible job leading this work. We
They
have
do.
amazing principals at each of our schools, and these teams take this work seriously.
Yes, they do.
And we're so proud to have parents and students at the high school
And
level at the table
students.
for that work.
And we have students at Irwin High too, and they had some good suggestions.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Flemons.
Chairman Elliott, I would
Yes.
just like to echo that sentiment as well. As I read over the documents, it was interesting to see how that on both hands, they were encapsulated and yet they were comprehensive in nature, including all the stakeholders and so many parents that have been active. You can see them in and out of the schools all the time because they have they take this very seriously when it comes to their children. And I love especially those who are coming from other countries now, feeling more comfortable about coming into the schools and expressing their opinions and providing their support in that way. All of them, not just from other countries, but all of our people, all God's children, as we'd say. But I appreciate the hard work that goes into this and the way that our schools have obviously driven these home in a way that makes it unique to their own schools and the needs of their specific children. So thank you to all who've participated in that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Any other questions, comments? Yes, sir, Mr. Martin.
So I did look over all 45 schools, and I can say from last year to this year that the plans have improved tremendously. So I just want to give a shout out to all of our principals and the teams that are together, that they did a fantastic job in putting these together. But I'm still alongside with Greg. The question is, if we keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and as we all know, if we think we're going to get different results, then we're crazy. So I want to know, what are we going to do to help our schools actually meet a school improvement plan? What are we going to put in process? What are we going to put in place? How the central office is going to support these schools to make sure that they meet these goals?
It's extremely important, and our district staff, Reverend Martin, take our support of those schools very seriously. And as such, we actually have our own district improvement plan, and each of our departments ensures that the level of support for our schools is thoughtful and intentional and surrounds them with what they need to meet their goals. It's hard work, it's complex work, and it's the work of our entire school system. In terms of accountability, every school has a district partner. Every school also has a principal partner. And we love that because our principals are the best supporters of each other, and we're very thoughtful and intentional in how we do that work. So we have regular conversations. We attend school improvement team meetings. We spend our leveled meetings monthly, making sure that we're thoughtful and intentional about the type of professional learning that we are providing. And so from the curriculum and instruction perspective of things, we have a very well thought out and executed plan to support our schools. Our principals are in the position to do the day-to-day tough work of school improvement in terms of academics, behavior, and attendance, and they do that work really well, and we're proud to partner with them in this work.
Thank you, Reverend Martin. And a great question for our board to ponder as we move into budget season is, how do we intend to support these schools on their journey that's outlined in their school improvement plans? And I know we all took time to read them, and we looked in a lot of testing data as well, and we're eager to, as a board, to support what you need as a school system, and our principals and teachers and our students need to live into those school improvement plans and make progress. So look forward to that future discussion. All right, well, thank you, Dr. Reed. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the 2025-2026 school improvement plans.
Second.
Got a motion and a second there. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries, and the school improvement plans are approved for 2025-2026. Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Thank you all.
Upcoming on our agenda here is the local funding formula proposal. We have Tina Thorpe, our fearless CFO.
Good afternoon, Chairman Elliott, members of the board, and Dr. Jackson. I would like to begin with a minor, small refresher on Budget 101 real quick and refresh everybody about the process and the budget calendar of how it currently works, real quick like. And then we'll move into what we're looking at for the future process. So Budget 101 was, if you remember, we are always in 3 years of budgets. Right now, we're finalizing our 24-25 with the audit. It'll be, they're going to present it January the 15th from the auditors, and we will have that finished by December 31st, and all of that will be presented to you all for the 24-25 year. We're currently in the 25-26 year. We have been working on it with the projections back in the spring, moved right into it. We constantly analyze monthly. We bring budget amendments to the board monthly as required. We are already in the early stages of the 26-27 budget process. We've been working for over 2 years on an allotment model that will help us keep us in line with budgets, along with meeting all the goals that are in that strategic plan, and being able to have all stakeholders are involved with directors, principals, and those principals and directors reach out to their teams and they research and figure out what all meets these strategic plans, and they bring it forth. And so we will have a leadership team that will be analyzing, as usual, constantly, what are we spending funds on and how are we meeting our needs of our students and our staff. Now, with that being said, we go through many budget meetings and we bring it, we do 2x2s, we go through into great detail. And then we bring it and just ask for an amount from the county, trying to get the needs and all of our expenses met from the local standpoint, a local current expense. This local current expense funding model that we're moving towards is not about the restricted Article 39 and Article 44 of capital. This is totally the unrestricted funds that goes into the county's general funds from the standpoint of all property taxes, and that could be industries that come in here, that can be land, that can be cars, that can be, it's all property taxes, and it's all sales tax that's unrestricted from the laws of Article 39, 40, 42, 46. So it incorporates all the unrestricted funds that comes into the county. And as we currently sit today, let me break it down a little bit in numbers. We, between us and National City Schools, are allocated $117 million from the county for our local current expense. If you look back right now at what we're thinking about, what we're proposing, is always looking at the last year from March 1st through February 28th or 29th if it's a leap year, for actuals collected of all of those property and all of those unrestricted sales tax, which is a hard number that we can get, we can predict, and we can look at. We have done so many analysis looking all the way back year after year, year over year. The average growth in property is around 3%. The average growth in sales tax has been all over the board, but it's always been increasing year over year. Even in the hurricane, there was a small growth. So with that being said, if you look at the last 12 months, that if we were to do it right today, it would be about 119 plus million that would be divided between us and National City Schools. So, and then that percent is based on ADM. Of our ADM, we would get about 85.03%, which would be about $101 million. which is about $2.5 million to $3 million more than we're really getting right now. So there's growth built into this model year over year. And I think it would be very stable, very predictable. And then there's a clause in there that if there's an emergency, or if the state completely changes their funding, or if the federal changes and there's a true emergency that we cannot meet the needs of our students and staff, we have the ability to do as we've always done and go and ask for that need. We will not be foregoing any meetings. We will be doing the same budget meetings, even more so with the allotment models, and bringing it to the board. And we will be doing the same meetings with the county, presenting our budget. We would have a better idea of the funding that we're going to receive, instead of just asking for a number that we have no idea if we would get or not get at all. So there's a lot more stability and a lot more predictability in this model. And so I am very much in favor, after doing tons of analysis, looking back, looking at the future, and also the growth that's still happening in Buncombe County. And you can see it everywhere you look across the county.
Thank you, Ms. Thorpe. Board members, any questions for Ms. Thorpe? Comments?
A couple of comments. One, it makes me feel really good when you say that you believe this will work, because I have that much confidence in you and your team. So thank you for all the analysis you've done. And one of the things you just said, with all the building and things that are happening across the county and the city, I mean, there's so much being built in just my little Emma community. And those homes are selling for like $700,000. So that's going to be additional property tax. And so to me, this is a positive move, getting a percentage of that and each year, because my gosh, we are building across the county.
And other big components of property are industry
Right.
that's coming in, and industry that's
Industry's coming
approved,
in.
that has recently, like Pratt & Whitney and HCA became went from nonprofit to a profit organization. So all of those play into this number as well.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flemons. Any other questions from the board? Yes, Mr. Cheatham.
Ms. Thorpe, can you speak about other counties that are similar in our size that have gone to a formula similar to this, and how it's benefited their system?
Yes, so I did a lot of research across the whole state. I analyzed all of the different local current funding formulas. Some of them also have more than local current built into them. They have their capital built in, and others, but I'm not recommending that at all. Sticking with the local current expense operation. And so after doing a very thorough analysis of most of them have failed or not been productive. There's a couple that have been very good, and they have lasted for years. And Onslow was one of the main ones that has been in place since 2000, and early 2000s, and it has worked for many, many years. And we reached out, worked hand in hand with the CFO there, and our county reached out to the county of Onslow, worked hand in hand with them. And so they immediately saw growth as well in the amount of funds that was coming into the school when they enacted it. And it's continued with the way that it's written to show growth through the percentage base. And I really feel strongly in that after looking at all the different counties and the success that they've had. And working together with the county, we've worked with the county finance team, and we've worked with Asheville City Finance together on this project, openly talking and discussing and figuring out what will work to benefit our students and meet the needs of our education platforms here in Buncombe County.
And what would be the length of this plan where we could reevaluate it if it was not what we thought it was?
So the way that it's written, it would originally be an initial 3-year term, but we will be evaluating it in December of that third year of 28, so that it will allow us from early December to the following July, we would know in December if this is not going to be continued from any of the boards that does not want it to continue. We are also be meeting in December of each year, annually, to verify and to get confirmation if we're going to continue or not, with all three boards.
Thank you, Mr. Cheatham. Any other questions or comments from the board? I just had a couple quick questions myself. So the concept is that there's a proposal from the county to shift local funding to a funding formula that would be based off of Onslow County that has been very successful. The total percentage is somewhere in the upper 30% range or whatever, but it translates to a year-over-year growth just from current state. For next year's budget, we would see some growth immediately, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And the percentage is a percentage of property and sales tax collected from the prior year, not projected in the upcoming year.
Yeah, I wanted to stay away from projections and budgets. You know, we do our very best to project and budgets as best we can. Just like last year, the hurricane hit. We had no idea that was going to hit. Amount of sales tax collected around March 15th. As you know, we're also in the middle of our capital collection from all of the stakeholders. We are working on those now. We turned them off to the principals and directors the Tuesday before the Thanksgiving break, and now all of the expediters are working on it, which are the main directors of maintenance facilities, putting prices and going out and meeting and seeing what all those projects are. And then we get those projections around the 15th of March as well. So everything will align that we know our numbers for operations and capital.
And so the other component of this that I know is on a lot of people's minds, there are a couple of school districts in our state that have fallen into financial trouble recently. So the thought of changing our current funding mechanism, with our local funding anyway, frankly, made me a little nervous at first, just because of seeing things in other counties that were mismanaged, and there was no other sources of revenue to pull from at the time to avoid some serious situations there. But in this case, with this model, there is an emergency clause, right? So that emergency clause would allow us, if we lost funding from the federal government for any programming, or state level funding was compromised, and we needed to go back to ask for more, this model and this approach would allow us to do that in some kind of organized fashion, to make a public presentation about what we're falling short on from other funding sources, and they would be able to make their decision to fund our needs or not, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
We'd have very similar, same process, that if we had an emergency or anything come up, that we could always go back and ask from that standpoint.
Yeah, that brings a great deal of comfort to me, at least. And so the last question I wanted to clarify is that this is not tied to ADM. Our other funding sources are generally tied to ADM, especially our state funding. So this, if our ADM is flat year over year, and this revenue, the property taxes and sales tax go up, and we get a fixed percent of the property and sales tax, then technically speaking, there's a better way to say this, but dollars per student. If our ADM was flat,
If it
this
stays
goes
the
up.
same.
Yeah, then this would,
Our per pupil expenditure
would be
increased,
Yeah.
that we could spend on each child.
yes, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, I just want to make sure I understood that correctly.
That is a true
Okay.
statement.
Well, I really appreciate all of the analysis. I know that you've schooled us very well on budgeting, and that you are constantly in an analysis mode. So, these kinds of proposals and these kinds of adjustments don't necessarily catch us off guard. We can know how they will impact us, and I certainly trust the fact that your team is conveying that it would be a positive impact for Buncombe County Schools, give you some certainty in planning, which I'm sure the superintendent would appreciate as well, and our board would as well. So I think that we will continue to deliberate this as we go forward in future board meetings. And did I hear you say that effectively, or maybe Dean's the right person to ask, all three, so ACS, BCS, and the county commissioners would have to approve this a funding proposal to get it in place at some point in time?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, this was a discussion item, no action needed. So with that, unless there's any further questions from the board, I appreciate your time, Tina.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda for the evening. We have minutes from November 6th, 2025, open session regular. Minutes from November 18th, 2025, special called work session. Personnel report, December 11th, 2025. 2025-2026 budget amendment number 1. Athletic capital outlay request for Irwin High School, and sole source procurement requests, Character Strong. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. I believe that's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor for passing the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Got Mr. Martin. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. The consent agenda is passed. On the information agenda for this evening, notification of contracts for construction and repair projects, our finance reports, we have policies for first reading. Our policy committee has been busy. 1740, 4010, student or parent grievance procedure. 2125, 7315, confidential information. 3220, technology in the education program. 3225, 4312, 7320, technology responsible use. 3226, 4025, internet safety. 3227, 7322, web page development. 3400, evaluation of student progress. 3460, graduation requirements. 4130, discretionary admission release policy. 4270, 6145, concussion and head injury. 5150, 7313, reporting to external agencies. 6310, organization of student transportation services. 6450, purchase of services. 7220, 1570, grievance procedure for employees. And 7910, retirement. Thank you, Policy Committee, for all your hard work on reviewing those. Those are now in for first reading. Announcements of future meetings. The next regular Board of Education meeting is January the 15th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. in the Minitorium. Work session updates and closed session begin at 4 p.m. in the Executive Conference Room at 175 Bingham Road, Asheville, North Carolina. With that, I will call for a motion to adjourn our meeting. We have a motion. Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.